Alrighty, class. We are in week 6 and we are starting our geometry unit. The first thing we need to know is to work on vocabulary words, okay? So geometry is difficult, not because it's hard, but because of the way you have to learn it, okay? The only way to do well in a geometry class is to first of all learn the ABCs of geometry, okay? It's just like a language. You have to learn the ABCs, you have to learn how to put things together, how to write things so that you can move forward, okay? So this is a lot of this again is just terminologies, definitions, diagrams, notation. Learn this right because this is what is going to make it or break it for you, okay? So I have a table here and I am going to go ahead and go and define the each term, okay? So you have the term in the first column. In the second column, you have the definition, usually the formal definition, and then you have a diagram or a notation to accompany that terminology, okay? So the first word that we have, the first vocabulary word is point, okay? Point. So a point is denoted by a dot and a capital letter, okay? It has to be a dot and a capital letter. So for example, this is not a point, okay? So you want to make sure that you use a dot and a capital letter. So a point is a location in space, okay? Everything or every object has a position, okay? So that is what we call a point, okay? A position is a location in space. The second word is a segment. Okay, a segment is a section of a line, okay? It has two end points. So here I have point A and point B. And what I'm going to do is I am going to connect them. Once I connect them, I have what's called a segment. And this segment has two end points. They are point A and point B. Now, how do you know when you are talking or writing about a segment? You use this, okay? That's the notation. Two capital letters, the two end points, and you have a bar on the top, all right? So that's the definition of a segment. It is a section of a line and it has two end points. The picture, is basically a bar connected. You are connecting two points, and those 2 points are your end points. Array, okay? So array has one end point which is fixed and one arrow going in one direction, okay? The notation is this, almost like a segment, but you also have an arrow in one direction, okay? And the fixed point is your A, okay? So how do I draw array? First of all, I put the fixed point down, which is my A. Then I point the second point, which is your B. And starting from A, I'm going to go right through B and put an arrow down. Okay, so this is array. Next one, a line. Okay, a line is a collection of points in a straight formation without limit. A line goes on forever in both directions. This is the notation for a line. You have two capital letters and you have a bar on the top and two arrows on both sides. Okay, so notice that for array, it is only one arrow. Okay, for the line, it's two. And we also use lowercase letters like L for a line, okay? So we could just say line 1 and line 2, for example. We could do that also, okay? All right, and sometimes they will put, that little notation there too, but usually it's not required, okay? But you can if you want to, okay? So that's a line. How do I draw it? Usually, okay, you just go ahead and draw a segment like this. Then you put two arrows on both ends. So now you have a line and you can just put the letter A and the letter B in there. That's your line. Plane. A plane. Think of a plane as a sheet of paper, okay? It's just a sheet of paper. That's what it is. So usually when we draw a plane, this is how we draw it. Just like a parallelogram. And you can denote a plane by using three capital letters for 3 points, non-collinear points, not on the same line. So I could say that this is plane A, B, C. What I could also do is instead of 3 letters, I could also name a plane by using what we call a script letter, you know, what I call fancy letters, if capital letters. So you could do something like this, okay? So that's plane M, okay? So it's just think of it again as a flat sheet of paper, and you can have lines, you can have segments, you can have points, whatever you want to put in that plane. Collinear. Collinear means on the same line. Okay, so collinear points are points on the same line. So for example, if I draw a line like this, I'm going to call this L, and I'm going to put 3 points on it. 1, 2, 3. So I could say that A, B, and C are collinear. They're on the same line. Coplanar. Coplanar, again, co means together. So here you have lines that are coplanar. So that means that both of the lines are on the same plane or in the same plane. Okay. So for example, if I draw, something like this, I could put line 1 and I could put line 2 crossing each other on the same line. on the same plane. Okay. Okay, dimension. When we talk about dimension, basically we want to know how tall, how wide, how deep, okay, how big. That's what we are talking about. Okay, but the formal definition is the dimension is the number of lines required to span a region in space. Okay. But again, just how big, how tall, how deep, how long. Usually I just say, okay, what are the dimensions of a rectangle? Okay, so you need to know how wide it is. You need to know how long it is. Okay. Space. Space is, think of space as a room. Okay, it's just a room filled with things. Okay, but it's the formal definition is space is the collection of all points. Okay, so you know if this is a room, everything here is in the space. Congruent. Congruent means objects that have the same shape and same size. The key is same shape, same size. Because congruent is so important in geometry, we have what's called a congruence symbol. Okay, there is a symbol that means two things are congruent, and it's an equal sign with a little worm on the top. That's called the congruence symbol. Okay, so for example, if I draw 2 triangles for you, triangle A, B, C, and I put 5 and 5 units on each side. If I draw another triangle like this at the bottom, and I call this D, E, and F, and I say, okay, I'm going to put the dimension down 2, and this is going to be 5, that's going to be 5, this is going to be 5. Truly, you see that although the 2 triangles are labeled differently, they are the same shape and they are the same size. Okay, so these 2 triangles are congruent. Okay, we have to write down what we call the congruence statement, okay, which is triangle A, B, C, and then the other triangle is triangle D, E, F. These 2 triangles are congruent because they have the same shape and the same size, and this is how you denote it. Okay, so triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Similarity, another very important concept in geometry, and again, it's so important that it has its own symbol. This is what we call the similarity symbol. And 2 objects are similar if they have the same shape but are of different sizes. Okay, one is bigger than the other. Okay, so if I draw this right triangle for you, I could draw another right triangle here. Okay, these are both right triangles. One is bigger than the other, and I can put labels on them, A, B, C. Notice I use capital letters, not lowercase. And I could also use D, E, F. You can label them any way you want. And I'm going to put numbers in there so that you see also, okay? So I'm going to say that this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. And I'm going to make this 10, 8, and 6. So you will see that these 2 triangles are basically the same shape. They are both the right triangles, but they are of different sizes. And again, write down the similarity statement, okay? So the 2 triangles are triangle ABC and triangle DEF. And they are similar. Put that in between, okay? Parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that never intersect. They keep on going forever alongside each other, okay? So you can draw something like this to show you two parallel lines, okay? They could go in any direction. The way that we show that two lines are parallel on geometry diagram is we put a little arrow like this alongside the lines that are parallel. So everybody in geometry knows that when they see something like this, they know that those two lines are parallel. And again, I'm just going to use L1 and L2. Okay, so how do you write that two lines are parallel in geometry? First of all, you need your L1 and you need your L2. And the parallel symbol is just these two slash or slanted lines together like that, or segment. All right, so here L1 is parallel to L2. Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are lines that intersect at 90-degree angles. I usually tell the kids if you can put the corner of a box between the two lines, then they are perpendicular. In geometry, what they usually do is they put a box. So I'm going to draw the lines for you. And they usually put a red box in here like that to denote that those two lines are perpendicular. Okay, so I'm going to use M and N. Okay, so you can say that M is perpendicular to N. That's how you write it. Okay. Non-collinear, we already talked about collinear. So collinear are on the same line. Non-collinear must be the opposite, not on the same line. Okay, so points that are not on the same line. And again, if I can just draw a line like this, and I could put point A and point B on the line, and I can put C outside of it. Okay, I could either even draw a line right through B and C like this. Okay, so you'll see that you have two different lines. A and B are on the same line, C and B are on the same line, but A, B, C are not on the same line. All right. Okay, non-coplanar, again, opposite of coplanar. So again, not on the same plane. So again, I can draw a plane, and I could put a line in here in this plane, and I can put a point D outside. So this is line M. So line M and point D are non-coplanar. They are not in the same plane. All right, so this is what we have in terms of the basic vocabulary words. Okay, again, remember, okay, so a point, you need a dot, you need a capital letter. That's a point. A segment, you need two capital letters and a bar. Okay, that's a segment. Array, two capital letters, a bar, and an arrow. Okay, that would be array. Notice that you could also have an array that looks like this. Okay, but instead of going from A to B, it is going to go from B to A. Now that means that the array starts at B and it goes towards A. Okay, so just be careful about that. Okay, so for example, this one here, your A is here and this is your B, whereas array BA is, oops, this endpoint here starts from B and it goes towards A. Okay, so just be careful. And then of course you have a line AB. Okay, arrow on both sides, that's a line. And then you have a plane. Okay, sheet of paper. You need 3 points to denote a plane. You can use any capital letters that you want, or you can also use a script letter like I mentioned before. And how about if you just have AB with nothing on top? This is linked. This is a number. Okay, so just so that you know all the different notation, this is why it's so important for you to learn this, because if you don't learn this well, then you are going to have trouble. Okay, so learn this well, and this should get you a good foundation to doing your geometry. I think I am going to stop this video here, and then I'll go and do the worksheets. See you in a bit.